Every year on her birthday, he would send her a rose. It was their custom. The rose was supposed to arrive at her office on the morning of her birthday, right as she was arriving. He would send it every year without fail, no matter where in the world she was. The rose was always there waiting for her. She had passed away 10 years ago, but someone kept placing roses on her grave. Who was this mysterious man? Why was he sending her roses even after all these years? What was the meaning behind this never-ending display of affection? Well, let me tell you, it all started 12 years ago. There were two lovers, a man and a woman. They loved each other very much, and every year on her birthday, he would give her a red rose. She cherished these moments, these tokens of love that bloomed into beautiful memories. For her, these roses weren't just flowers. They symbolized the depth of his affection, the silent poetry of his heart. Each petal was a verse, each thorn a testament to a love that was both passionate and enduring. But life, as it often does, had a different script in store. On her 35th birthday, tragedy struck. She didn't open the rose he sent. No one did. That's because her heart had already stopped beating. He received the call every lover dreads. His world shattered into a million pieces that day. He was devastated. But amidst the grief, a promise was made. He vowed to keep sending her roses, not as a symbol of their lost love, but as a promise of eternal remembrance. One rose every year on her birthday. He kept his word. Year after year, the rose arrived, sometimes wilted, sometimes fragrant, but always a reminder of a love that death couldn't diminish. People around him questioned his strange habit. Friends and family wondered why he continued to send roses to his deceased lover. His response was always the same, because love doesn't die. Only people do. They saw the pain etched on his face, the ghost of a smile that never reached his eyes. They understood that for him, the rose wasn't just a flower. It was a lifeline to a past that refused to be buried. Now, let's return to the present. Fast forward 10 years, the old man is now 80 years young. His hair is a snowy white, his face a roadmap of wrinkles that tell stories of a life well lived, or so one might think. But those deep-set eyes hold a sadness that seems out of place in an old man who is nearing the end of his journey. He sits in his garden surrounded by roses, their colors a riot of beauty, yet he doesn't seem to notice. He's lost in a world of his own, a world where the sun still shines on a love that defied the boundaries of life and death. Suddenly, a figure emerges from behind a rose bush, startling him. It's a young man, all of 25, with eyes full of curiosity and a smile that promises warmth. "Sir, I've been watching you," the young man begins, his voice echoing in the stillness of the old man's thoughts. "Watching you tend to these roses, I mean. You seem to have a special connection with them. They're beautiful, aren't they?" The old man looks up slowly, his gaze meeting the young man's with a mixture of surprise and caution. It's as if he's seeing the world again for the first time. "Why are you here?" he asks, his voice raspy with disuse. The young man, unfazed by the gruff tone, takes a step closer. "I wanted to ask you something," he says, his voice softening. "Why do you continue to send roses to that grave? I noticed you placing them there every year on the same day, like clockwork." The old man hesitates, then closes his eyes, his fingers tracing the lines on his weathered hands. When he opens them again, there's a faraway look in them. "That grave holds the memory of my beloved," he says softly. "My wife, Eleanor. I promised her I would never stop loving her, and that includes keeping our traditions alive." The young man nods, understanding dawning on his face. "So the roses," he says, more to himself than anyone else. "They symbolize your unending love for her. It's a beautiful thing, sir, truly." The old man managed a weak smile. "She loved roses," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I believe she would have turned 50 this year if she hadn't left me." His voice trailed off, the pain of loss still vivid after all these years. The young man felt a pang of sympathy. He looked at the old man, at the roses that seemed to mirror the emotions in the old man's eyes. In that moment, he understood that love wasn't just a feeling. It was a commitment, a bond that transcended the boundaries of life and death. A comfortable silence fell between them. The young man didn't need to say anything else. He knew that the old man was lost in his memories, reliving moments with the woman he loved. After a while, the old man seemed to come back to the present. He looked at the young man with a newfound clarity in his eyes. "Why did you come to me?" he asked, his voice raspy. The young man hesitated, then met the old man's gaze directly. "I came to you because I believe in your love story," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "Because it reminds me of what I hope to have one day, a love that's as strong and as enduring as yours." The old man's eyes widened in surprise. He looked at the young man, then at the roses, and a slow smile spread across his face. "You remind me of myself at your age," he said, chuckling softly. "Always hopeful, always in love with the idea of love." The young man blushed, embarrassed at being caught in such a vulnerable moment, but the old man waved his hand dismissively. "It's all right, son," he said. "It's good to believe in something bigger than yourself, something that gives you hope and purpose." They stood in silence for a moment, each lost in his own thoughts. Then the old man clapped the young man on the shoulder, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Don't forget," he said, "this Saturday is Valentine's Day. Don't forget to show your loved ones how much you care. Send them roses, son. Roses are red, and so's love." The young man laughed, shaking his head at the old man's antics. But as he walked away, he couldn't help but think about the old man's words. Maybe he was right. Maybe it was good to believe in something bigger than yourself, something that gave you hope and purpose. And maybe, just maybe, love really could conquer all, even death. As the young man strolled through the park, a smile crept onto his face. He decided to buy a bouquet of red roses, the same kind that the old man had planted in his garden. He wanted to surprise his girlfriend, to show her how much he cared about her. He thought about the old man and his undying love for his wife. It was a beautiful thing, something to aspire to. The young man knew he was in love with his girlfriend, but he wanted his love to be more than just a feeling. He wanted it to be a commitment, a bond that would last forever. As he approached his girlfriend's house, he took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. When she opened the door, he handed her the roses and told her how much he loved her. Her eyes filled with tears as she realized the depth of his feelings. From that day on, the young man never forgot to show his loved ones how much he cared. He sent them roses, not just on Valentine's Day, but every day. Because he believed that love wasn't just a feeling, it was a commitment, a bond that transcended the boundaries of life and death. And who knows? Maybe someday someone would be telling his love story too.